Hey guys, welcome back to the Laurence McKenna channel, where today we're talking about Darwin Nunez. I'm on my way to Sky at the moment to go talk transfers, and this is obviously the time of the year to talk about them, but I don't think this many people thought that there will be this many rumours and transfers swirling around Liverpool, at least in this fashion at this time of the year. And there is currently this idea that Liverpool have rejected a £75 million bid from Saudi League, someone in Saudi, for Darwin Nunez. Now, apparently they're holding out for around 75 mil. So we're looking at a bid in that region, right? They value him at 85, which is obviously where he was kind of originally valued by Liverpool anyway. And they still believe that he holds that value, mainly because if you put him in another system, he's probably going to give you a lot of value. He's a very lethal striker in the right system. But at the moment, Liverpool aren't playing a system which plays to his strengths, should we say. And what you really need to do is put him in a system where he's a finisher. Michael Edwards is personally handling these negotiations based around Darwin Nunez, whether he goes to Europe, whether he goes to Saudi. And I think ultimately there's a reason Liverpool wanted him back, and it's because he is this master negotiator. He's very good at getting maximum value out of either transfers in or transfers out. And I also think that Liverpool are holding out for this because they know that there are people in the market who will pay this amount of cash. Now, in Europe, no one's paying £75 million for Darwin Nunez. With Saudi involved, with other entities that pay just ridiculous amount of money in the first place, and people looking for big names that will show that their league is legit, then I think there's a reasonable argument to say that Liverpool could get the value. The argument is not really about Liverpool, though. The argument will also be about Darwin Nunez and where his career goes from here. Does a 25-year-old player really want to go to the Saudi League, even if he believes it's only for one season? Maybe he could get generational wealth in that time. There's 400k a week wages being spoken about, those kind of things. That isn't a terrible reason to park your career for this time. Possibly also earn some favour in that region and see yourself as the face of a tournament or the face of whatever it is in the future in that area. I think there's definitely something to be said around that. The fact that the Saudi tournament may be a decade away possibly doesn't favour him at this point, because he'd be 35-ish by the time that football is really cracking in that area. So I don't know if that's really favourable to him, but maybe you also want to strike while the iron's hot. Now, what does this really, let's be honest about it. What does it really mean for Darwin? Darwin hasn't really been banging them in this season for Liverpool. He hasn't really been all that efficient for us. I don't even really think, as much as he's done stuff within the system, he's maximised what it is that Slot wants from this. And I think we're seeing now more and more the type of players that Slot wants to play with. We see who he favours more and more within the team. We see what style of play he wants. And also, I'll be honest, Darwin, whether he starts or whether he's coming on as a game changer, hasn't had the maximum effect. As a starter, you need a striker who's going to run them through the rigour, run them through the gauntlet, and make them feel like they're instantly hitting a challenge. His energy is there, his pressing has been good, but I would expect that a lot now from most players that play within the Liverpool team. That's kind of the minimum requirement. And I think doing the minimum is good, but for a title potential team and a team that's tilting towards that, I just think you need more. His finishing just hasn't been good enough. And, we saw this even in the FA Cup just the other day. You have to be a dangerous asset within the team, especially against a team of people who just aren't meant to be the same level of technical ability as you. Slot kind of mentioned it himself, the technical and even just tactical ability of those players clearly wasn't the same as Liverpool, because they haven't been operating at that level for as long. There's no judgment on a team like Accrington Stanley. But that's kind of the point. I think at the moment there are a lot of people who are very favourable towards Darwin because he's become a bit of a cult figure. He's become someone that we all want to see either succeed or whatever it is. But he was a Klopp guy. He was a guy that would have relied on Jurgen Klopp to stay at the club, and he's not at the club any longer, and Slot is going to want to change the personnel. I think over time that's going to become more and more evident for more and more figures and players within the team that actually, whilst we like these guys, Slot is a great coach and can fit a lot of different people into the team, but ultimately there's only so much that you can squeeze out of certain players, and until you get someone who suits your tactical thinking and your tactical philosophy, you're only going to be able to take the team so far. So the people analysing Slot at the moment and saying, well, this is going to be his best season, blah, 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 I think you're a little bit off. This is the beginning. This is kind of Rafa Benitez in his first season winning the Champions League with Liverpool. You're using pieces that aren't necessarily your pieces, and you're looking to fit new pieces in. this is just the beginning of the next wave of changes that Liverpool have. I think there is ultimately a reality here that there are 3, maybe 5 positions in the team that will have huge personnel changes in the next 12 to 24 months. We're thinking left back, we're thinking centre back, we're thinking probably goalkeeper, but we already know where that goes. 1 centre mid, a striker, and possibly a right or a left winger within this. If we were to get someone like Kvicha, if we were to get someone like Semenyo, I think you do see a quite significant change on the left or the right wing for Liverpool, and I think you see a big change. But a key player within this team, and a key area that we aren't maximising our goals right now, because Salah and Diaz and Gakpo have been upping their output this season, is the striker position. And I think if you're going to get a striker in, he either has to be facilitating the wingers, which Núñez isn't doing to the maximum, or adding extra goals and drawing attention towards himself to make things even harder for the people ultimately you have to guard your other guys. So it's kind of my point here. I think there is better value in the market. We aren't going to be going out there and getting a Omar Marmoush, but we could possibly be getting a Simas or someone along those lines as a fill-in for this time. Next summer, there are a lot of valuable centre forwards that are available. There's Gyökeres, there's a number of other strikers who, if we were to put the money that we get from Darwin back into the market, we could easily tempt away, especially considering the summer that we had last year. And I think Liverpool will look at that and say, can we make it through without another body in that area? Could it be Dan's? Could it be Simas? Someone who's essentially is going to do the same job as Núñez, but be two-footed. Is that Simas, who's a tall Jota? Is that Dan's, who is more of an out-and-out striker, and someone who could possibly play, and even proved in the FA Cup that he can play in that position, possibly to an even more suited, and not competent, but suited profile than someone like Darwin? The value is there in the market, and if it is, then I suggest that we cash in, because you're not going to get this value from Europe next summer, this summer coming. You're not going to get this value anywhere else, and it gives Darwin a route out of Liverpool, back into playing time, back into proving he's that striker, and possibly a route back into Europe when someone like Inter or AC or whoever it is have got enough valuable non-European positions that they can look to fill with someone like Darwin or someone like that. The value is there in the market. I suggest that we capitalise. It's just what Liverpool are really holding out for is closer to the value. You never obviously take the first bid, but also the fact that Michael Edwards is rumoured to be dealing with this himself directly suggests to me that Liverpool are looking for maximum value, and that really, when we're dipping back into the market here, this is the core of our rebuild. This is a very important time for us. It's not to suggest, by the way, that Darwin's not a good player and someone that I think could be valuable elsewhere. It's just that I think he suits a different system and a different rebuild that we're not doing now. There are profiles that is becoming more and more evident Arne Slot does not favour in the team. And I think it's only fair that, therefore, not only saying, oh, Darwin's a good player. No one's saying he's not a good player. What they're really saying here is, I think he's suited to a different system that we're not now rebuilding towards. And letting him go, letting Liverpool move on and get their own striker, is a combination of get us a better suited striker and someone that you suit better elsewhere. And that is better for both parties, frankly. I'm on my way to Sky to talk about it right now. The videos will be out later today, I'd imagine, on the YouTube channel. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what your opinion is of this. And let me know what you think of the 5 positions and who you would get in those 5 positions in the next 12 to 24 months. It's an interesting 2 weeks now for Liverpool. Bear in mind, you don't always, the window plays out in many different ways. It isn't just get guy in, get guy out. We know how negotiations work and how negotiations go. I'll be interested to see what you guys think in the comments below. Yeah, sad to see him leave, but it felt inevitable after you've seen the analysis on the channel. Some people are accusing us of anti-South Americanism, which is very unusual considering the amount of South Americans that we chant about and love in the team. But hey, some people just don't know how to listen. I will chat to you guys in a little while. Much love. Bye.